Hey fish friends, Zenzo with Tazawa Tanks, back with another video. So I'm just down here hanging out in the fish room. Went to the San Francisco Aquarium Society yesterday, had fun, got to hang out with some other YouTubers, and a couple of them are on their way to my house right now. We just had breakfast a little while ago, so you'll get to see who's coming over to my place. Okay, so today's topic is going to be about a little bit about the fish keeping hobby, some resources that are available, primarily your local fish club or your aquarium society or your aquarium club. Before I get into that, yes, you did read that correctly in the description of the video, and maybe you got sucked in by my thumbnail as well, but Corey from Aquarium Co-op and Jimmy from Aquarium Co-op did come by. Actually, they were at the event last night. Corey was a guest speaker, which I'll talk a little bit about shortly. Then I met up with them for breakfast this morning, and then they came back over to my house and shot a little footage. So I will be on their video at some point, and but I did get a little clip of them here, so I'll put that later on in the video. But anyway, I want to talk about your resources that are available to you. So if you are watching this channel, if you're watching this video, I'm guessing that you're a fish nerd, you're a fish geek, you're really into the aquarium hobby, you're really into fish keeping. Not, and it doesn't matter what type of fish you're into. You like to keep aquatic animals. So that's typically who's watching this channel. So, if you're not familiar with like your aquarium society or your fish club in your area, I would highly suggest that you look into that and research that, because you would be surprised different associations that are in your area or different clubs that are in your area, what great sources of information those organizations can be. So there's a few things, from a social standpoint of getting out and meeting other hobbyists, because this is a kind of a very small type of hobby. It's not like fitness or cars or music where there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that share the same interests. It's a little bit more finite. So when you find another person in your area that shares the same passion as you, it's totally neat to just start talking about different fish and plants and invertebrates and things like that. So that's one aspect, is definitely the social part of it, and meeting other people and seeing what they're keeping and learning how they're keeping fish, and then kind of expanding your own horizons. And I'm doing the same thing, or I'm primarily a cichlid keeper, and now I'm keeping like white clouds, and I'm thinking about getting shrimp and all kinds of stuff. So it's really neat there. The other good thing about going to those meetings or joining those organizations, they usually have very, very nominal fees to be a member, 20 or $30 a year, something like that. Another great advantage is they often have guest speakers. And sometimes it might be a subject that you're totally not familiar with, and you get to learn a whole new thing. So, like, for me, aquascaping is pretty much just sticking rocks in a tank that my cichlids can kind of swim around. I went to one a few months ago where it was about Dutch aquascaping, and it was just really elaborate as far as how they're judged and all the different rules and the type of plants, and very interesting. So it's a great way to kind of further your knowledge. So they've got some great guest speakers. So I really advise you, if you are interested in learning more about the hobby, learning more about fish keeping, invertebrates, plants, etc., look at a lot of them have websites or Facebook pages, just to go see who the upcoming speakers are. And you might be surprised, like, Corey from Aquarium Co-op is going to be talking about puffers, or Rachel O'Leary is going to be talking about catfish or nanotanks or whatever it may be. So that's really interesting. The other great thing about the clubs are the auctions, and I would caution you with the auctions. So if you're like me and you've got a few bucks in your pocket, you're probably going to end up walking out of there with stuff. So like last night I went and had a great time, watched the presentation. The auction came up, and I had in my mind, like, I'm going to buy I wanted to find some guppy grass and maybe a little bit of moss. Well, I ended up buying fish I bought another tank that I've got to build a stand for now. So, sometimes it can be dangerous. But when you're getting like a really great tank, I got a 20 long for $10. And they came with some stuff. I gave it away to one of my friends because I didn't need it. It had a bunch of turtle stuff in it, and she wanted it for turtles. So I said, here, you can have it, and then I'll just take the glass box. So I got some white cloud minnows. I've been kind of thinking about keeping those for a while and wanted to play around with them. It's like, oh, well, I got 5 of them for like $5. So I just bought them. So there's a lot of great deals on plants that you wouldn't normally find like in your normal retail store. Because people are growing them and cultivating them and things like that. There are other fish that people are breeding. Usually they're very good strains. So, it's another great source of finding stuff for the hobby, plus all the dry goods. And, you can buy filters, pennies on the dollar, and fish food and equipment and all kinds of stuff. So it's really kind of a fun thing to do as well. Some of them have like occasional auctions. Some of them have huge like mega auctions once or twice a year. Some of them have auctions every month. So I would definitely suggest that you look into that as well. And then the last piece I want to talk about is really kind of on the knowledge side. So, when you go to these events, you are exposing yourself to a lot of different people from within your area, and they might have specialties in different areas where, you might be really into live bears, and someone else might be really, experienced on cichlids, or they might be experienced in shrimp, or they might be experienced in low-tech plants, or whatever it may be. So there are so many people that are in the hobby, that are in these organizations or part of these clubs, that have so much information that they can share with you. So as you go to more and more meetings, you get to know these people. You can talk to them and, shoot them a message, or talk to them when you're at the meeting and say, hey, I've been thinking about, trying, some shrimp, but I'm having a hard time because they're not staying alive. And talk to the shrimp person, and he or she's going to tell you, oh yeah, you got to make sure that the tank is well seasoned. You have lots of algae, and he's got to have, it's got to be at this pH, and make sure that it's buffered like this. And so, if you're not an expert in that area, there will be experts there at those meetings. And then also when you have the guest speakers, there's a lot of knowledge that's coming in. These people are, driving in from far away or flying in to be a presenter and talk to the club and to share their information on their part of the hobby. And it might be something that you've never thought of or never considered. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, that might be something fun for me to do. So for example, yesterday, Corey, his talk was on puffers and talking about all the different types of puffers, from pea puffers all the way up to Mabu puffers and everything in between, right? And some of those you can have in a 5 or 10 gallon tank, and some of them you need 400 gallons plus. But I never really considered keeping puffers. It was never really something that registered with me as something that I would be interested in, because I didn't know a lot about them. I don't see them in stores very often. And by the end of the presentation, I'm thinking, okay, where can I put a puffer tank, and what tank do I have now that would work well for a puffer? And I'm already in my mind thinking, oh, well, I could, put a little pea puffer in this tank, and it can just swim around on its own or something like that. So it's just another great way to expose yourself to more areas of the hobby that you may not be familiar with. And it might just open up a new horizon for you and bring a new passion. So, because one of the things about fish keeping is, it might become a little mundane at times if you're only keeping one type of fish, and after a while, they're beautiful to look at and you like to breed them and stuff like that, but you might lose a little interest. But then all of a sudden, if there's like something new, you're like, oh, like, wow, like here's a whole new species of fish, or a whole new thing that I can do with fish while still enjoying your other your kind of your original thing. Or you can just change everything and go from one part of the hobby to the next. So anyway, your fish club, if you don't know where your fish club is, someone does in your area. You can go to your local fish store and talk to the people there and say, hey, is there a fish club in the area, or an aquarium society? And every greater metropolitan area is going to have them. Every medium-sized city is going to have something similar. So I would definitely recommend that you find your local club and check it out. Anyway, I'll just kind of put in a couple little clips here of just Corey and Jimmy checking out my tanks, and also Sam from the Fish Life, who is a younger YouTuber. If you don't know who he is, you got to check him out as well. And I'll put the link to his channel down below. So here's the little clip of them at my house.
The security guard does his job. You never need the security guard. You're like, oh, we can get rid of him. No one ever breaks in. That's because they've done their job. So.
I got a funny...
You know, they're kind of like a
we got Sam from the Fish Life.
Hi,
How's it going?
I'm good.
yeah.
Check out his channel. I'll put a link in the description below.
Once I get them in mass.
So anyway, that's all I had to share today. I hope you enjoyed this topic. I hope that if this is something that you haven't heard before, and I've talked about this before, so it's I have spoken about this subject before, but it's been a few months. I thought I'd talk about it again and just kind of bring some more light to kind of further the hobby and help all of us out. So anyway, as always, I appreciate your viewership. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Click that little link down below and hit the subscribe button. And also click the bell if you want to be notified on when I post new videos, which I do post 2 or 3 videos per week. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.